Welcome to How to Save Your Marriage with Nicola Beer, a show full of tips and practical strategies to repair, rebuild, and strengthen your relationship. If you are currently stuck wondering if your marriage can be saved, or you know you want to save it but don't know how to go about changing it, this show is for you. And now here is your host, Nicola Beer, who specializes in a proven 10-step program to help couples increase their love, passion, and happiness in their marriage in 30 days or less, guaranteed.
Hi and welcome, this is Nicola Beer and I am thrilled you're listening to this episode because it's so important, and we're going to be talking about ultimatums. To give them or to not to give them. Are they good or are they bad in a marriage? You will hear people giving ultimatums every week. If you don't stop doing X, then Y will be the consequence. However, more often than not, these ultimatums are being issued by a parent to a child. This is a relationship where power and responsibility lie with the parent. It is the parent's job to ensure that a child grows up knowing what is right and wrong, setting boundaries to ensure safety. The reason for adults giving ultimatums within a marriage can be a reaction to the many types of behaviours. Examples such as your partner having an affair, addiction to pornography, alcoholism, drug abuse and obsessiveness about any other aspect of their life. These behaviours will have you feeling hurt, resentful, disappointed, sometimes helpless, hopeless. So it's understandable why you would feel that giving an ultimatum would be your only choice, your only option. You may have just reached an absolute turning point where you just think, I cannot go on anymore. However, I'm going to give you some reasons for not using ultimatums. Giving an ultimatum to your spouse, where the relationship should be equal, will immediately create a sense of negativity within the relationship. Whilst you might feel that you need to gain the power in your relationship by using an ultimatum, the results you desire often will not follow. Think about how you feel if your spouse was to give you an ultimatum. Words such as resentment, belittlement, and control spring to mind. An ultimatum may come across as a demand or a threat and will immediately make your spouse defensive. These are not feelings that would inspire you to change. Yes, your spouse may manage to change their damaging behaviour for a short space of time if they feel they will lose you. However, more often than not, people aren't ready to follow through on the ultimatums as you need them to, because often an individual needs to establish their own bottom line. They need to want to change because of them. All you are managing to do is achieve a dictatorship within your marriage by being too demanding. This is not to say that certain abusive situations should be tolerated. So what I'm saying today is not about emotional abuse, physical abuse. If you're suffering with that, then I really recommend you get some support. I do offer a free Save My Marriage consultation, which I'll be talking about at the end again. But, if you really are stuck, then why not book a call with me and we can discuss some strategies and ways to help you cope and get out of that situation, or find support in your local support groups, family or friends that you trust. Because definitely alternative strategies are needed for those cases. So what could you consider as an alternative approach to an ultimatum? What is more important is to look at why your partner may be displaying such structured behaviour. It's widely accepted that events in our childhood can have a long-lasting effect on our behaviours into adulthood. Your spouse's relationship with either of their parents can have a profound effect on them. Think about your own childhood now. Did you come from a home environment where you felt emotionally connected? Were you able to talk about not only what you did in a day, but also how you felt? Did you feel appreciated? Was there affection in your household? All of this are the aspects that lead people to feeling connected to one another. A lack of emotional connectedness can be what leads people to destructive behaviours such as infidelity or other negative behaviours that I've described so far. So, to reiterate, an ultimatum will work against trying to achieve emotional connectedness if emotional connectedness is what they are missing. So it's looking at why, and it's also looking for compassion, empathy. Now you may be thinking, Nicola, I'm so furious. How can I show compassion? How can I show empathy? Well, if you can just start to connect, then you'll be able to lead your partner to a place of greater happiness. So what is emotional connectedness? There are many definitions of emotional connectedness, but in essence it's about the feeling of being accepted, respected, and being able to be our true selves in the presence of another. People who feel the most worthwhile and happy will be able to display high levels of emotional connectedness with their friends and family. Often a person who has not experienced this as a child or even into their adulthood will be a person who displays addictive behaviours or betrayal, have affairs. Participating in these behaviours is a way of your spouse achieving a reprieve from this disconnectedness. Often that's why people drink, why people emotionally eat, why people overspend, why people engage in other activities to an excess. And it's generally a feeling of disconnectedness. I know myself, I fell into a really bad habit when I felt so lonely. I felt so disconnected that I used drinking to have that emotional connection with myself, which was a horrible place to be, but I got out of it. And that's the whole point. People can change, habits can change. It's just breaking emotional habits. So people do this, they engage in behaviour because it gives them space where they are accepted and relaxed without immediate consequences, and often with more ease they can have in their marriage. Your spouse will more than likely know that their behaviour is wrong. They will more than likely know that it's destructive. And whilst they might accept that their behaviour is wrong, it may be incredibly difficult for them to change. They may even be too frightened of failure to try. A change in their behaviour can be influenced though, and I'm going to tell you how now, because you have the ability to influence their inner motivation to change. It is possible by helping your spouse to feel more emotionally connected, fundamentally influence and change their negative behaviours. Ultimatums essentially install rules within a relationship. Whilst it may be important to have boundaries, imposing rules will create resentment, as mentioned already. This is where establishing connection and thereby achieving the ability to influence your spouse's internal motivation is key. This method is much more productive and also creates a more positive relationship. By creating an emotional connection with your spouse, you can realise two profound effects. One, you eliminate your spouse's craving for their damaging behaviour. There is no void to fill anymore because you have filled their need for connection. Two, you offer your spouse a permanent filling for the void that has been insatiable, probably since their childhood. The tricky part of this is that many of us don't know how to create emotional connectedness. This is part of what I teach people through in the Ultimate Connector package and also in the online group program that I run. I've worked with all types of behaviour, and I've mentioned, and I truly believe that any habit can be changed with the right mindset and resolve. And we also need to set actions of how you can change behaviour. We need to give people that want to change their behaviour an alternative. So you need to give them an attractive alternative. You can't just change the behaviour without replacing it with something else, or if you do, it's going to be really, really hard work. And then also we need to work a little bit with the subconscious mind as well, because people estimate now that it's over 80 to 90% of all of our behaviour is driven by our subconscious. So we want to be working with the conscious and the subconscious. As a starting point, affection, attention and appreciation of your spouse are imperative. This may be difficult to do in the beginning, especially when your spouse's behaviour is so challenging. It may also be necessary to get extra help with particular addictions or obsessive behaviour. In summary, do not give your spouse an ultimatum. Establish how you could aim to achieve emotional connectedness with your spouse. Know that one person can transform a marriage. I help women and men to single-handedly do this on a daily basis. And lastly, it all starts with connection and inspiring them to change. I just want to point out a really important point. I'm not saying that everything relates back to childhood. The stresses of modern day life, financial difficulties, a nightmare boss or heavy workload, family pressure and conflict can also lead to destructive behaviour and disconnectedness. Whatever the reason, getting support to help you turn things around is crucial. We all know that time does not heal or make any difference. It's really also important that I point out that I certainly don't analyse the past or couples' childhoods to transform their marriage. That does not work, which is why I focus on helping couples to move forward with actions in my online group programs, in my connected packages. I don't believe that talking about problems does anything. I don't believe going into someone's childhood is going to help them unless they express that they feel that it is. I focus on creating habits that couples can take and a series of steps to move them out of the pain, out of the challenging times and into happiness, light and passion. So if your marriage is in serious trouble and you need help now, book your free Save My Marriage consultation with me today. Go to www.savemymarriageprogram.com/consult. And if you're still unsure whether it can be saved or not, then go and get my free quiz, www.savemymarriageprogram.com/quiz. And I cover 30 of the most common marriage problems and what you can do to start to assess whether your marriage can be saved. Well, I hope this has been useful to you. From my heart to yours, I wish you a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you for listening to How to Save Your Marriage with Nicola Beer. To book your free Save My Marriage consultation, please visit www.savemymarriageprogram.com/consult. And if you've enjoyed this episode, Nicola would really appreciate it if you could leave a rating and review on whatever app you're listening through, so the show stays visible, allowing more people to get the support they need to increase their love, passion, and happiness.